right.
Can you see us? Is that good?
I think so. Happy Marriage Monday.
Happy Marriage Monday. This is the car edition.
Yes. We are driving home from Newport Beach.
Yes. It's actually Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted you to see what it looks like when Cindy and I are fully rested after 24 hours of escape.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
We were both like, hey, we could get really used to this.
I kind of like taking random naps. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we wanted to shoot it in the car too, because it's kind of like our life right now has been so on the go that until we were forced to stop, or like we were this last 24 hours, we didn't realize how much we needed it. And I think that might be the way it is for a lot of couples and a lot of marriages, because things have not slowed down. Things are actually just speeding up in terms of how much we're having to adjust to schools being shut down, to work being shut down, to schedules having to be adjusted. And so, there is no room to stop, or at least that's what we told ourselves. Plus, on top of that, we also moved our entire lives.
Well, yeah, and I always, have the mom guilt of like, I'm going to work during the day. My mom stays home with the kids, so I don't want to be gone more because then I'm like not seeing the kids. So, mom guilt's always fun when you add that to the mix. But yeah, our counselor recommended, just in terms of health, he said it'd be really good for you guys to get away for a couple days. And we said, we can't do a couple days. Yeah. He said, can you do overnight?
Yeah, but
yes.
But he asked first. He's like, when's the last time that you guys got away? This was coming out of that argument that we had a couple weeks ago. He's like, when's the last time you guys had a night away? And Cindy and I kind of looked at each other and were like,
it's been a year or more.
Oh my goodness, I think it was our last anniversary.
Yeah, which, I mean, is probably more the norm than it's not. A lot of couples we talk to, it's, gosh, I haven't gotten away since before we had kids. So we feel really blessed, but at the same time, it was a necessary getaway. So we did. We got away for 24 hours and went up the coast and got some sun, got some relaxation, got some time to have complete sentences and conversations, and that was always really nice.
Uninterrupted conversations was just a beautiful thing to actually finish thoughts.
Yeah, and we started talking about like, just what we're learning and what we're growing through, and we were having the conversation about, the joke you keep hearing is these are unprecedented times, which is true. These are unprecedented times, and I would like a little bit of precedent. And
I miss precedent
in all of this. Yeah. We're getting off San Marcos Boulevard. Yeah. So I was just telling John, I'm like, what can we keep precedented in our lives? What can we keep boundary lines on? What can we keep stable in a time where everything feels kind of unstable? Like we were just talking with these sweet ladies at the hotel we were staying at, and policies are changing overnight. Like our breakfast was covered, and one gal was like, oh, I didn't know your breakfast was covered. And the gal next to her goes, oh yeah, that was a change of policy. And she's like, oh, and that's literally where we're at with things. Things are changing constantly with what's okay and not okay. And I just told John, I'm ready for some precedented times. And because we can't necessarily request that in our world around us, we can personally set precedent.
Yeah.
We can personally establish boundaries and things that are immovable. In a world of movable, I need to have things established. And really what that comes down to, I think, is our 5%. It comes down to those big rocks, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, our 5% is the things that only you and I can do. We cannot delegate that to anybody else. We can almost everything else we do in our life with a modicum of training, someone else could do it. Busy work, anybody can do that. But there's 5% of what it is that you and I have been given, and those are our big rocks. And I love the picture of the big rock, because it's like when you put a big rock into a river, it doesn't matter how strong that flow is, how rapid those rapids are going, the river has to move around the rock instead of the other way around. What Cindy and I were talking about is, as we kind of paused over this last 24 hours, is returning to our big rocks. What are those things that are the non-negotiables that no matter how rapid this year continues to be, this river, this current is not going to carry us away with it. It's not going to carry our marriage away with it. It's not going to carry our kids away with it. And so those are those things. And one of those things for this conversation is specifically, what priority are you giving your marriage? I was just talking with a couple from our church, and they were saying, yeah, it's been a long time since we've had a date. And I kind of talked with them with the same kind of boldness that our counselor was saying to us. Basically, if it's not an option to have an unhealthy marriage, then it's not an option to skip date night. And it's not an option to have at least once a quarter, one night away where you're getting away, you're looking each other in the eyes. Last night we just were like laughing and joking, and we didn't have really anything planned, and that was kind of nice too, because everything else in our life has been so structured, plans constantly changing, that to just have this unfiltered time together, it was really life-giving. And so we just want to encourage you. That's one of the 5% things. You cannot delegate date night. You cannot delegate someone else caring for your spouse to anybody else. And I hate to say this, but I don't think the rapids are going to get easier. I think they're just going to increase in 2020. And that's okay, as long as we have our big rocks in place. Obviously, Christ first, and then our marriage, our family, our work, and our relationships.
Yeah. And I love that picture that you said about when a big rock is in place, it's not moved by the river, but rather the river moves around it. Yeah. And with everything moving, it's never been more important for us to get those big rocks in place. So pray about that today. Think about that today. What are those things that are most important to you? And prioritize those things. I've been finding busy work takes up a lot of time, and scheduling things going here and there takes a lot of time. But if I'm not getting my big rocks in place, they don't get it. There's no room for them. So you're worth it. Your marriage is worth it. Absolutely. Your relationships are worth it. Your family is worth it. Your community is worth it. Your community is waiting for you to align your big rocks, to set priority, to show priority, and to follow that. So we love you guys. Hope that ministers and blesses you, challenges you as it's challenging us. We're headed to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end things. Let us know in the comments below, as always, how we can be praying for you, some things that you would like us to address, what you guys are dealing with in your marriage during these unprecedented times. Thanks again for your time.